afternoon, and welcome to Pekin, Illinois, as we get set for the Pekin Dragons to take on the Minooka Indians. I am Teddy Ball in the booth here with Michael Savoy. Michael, we got a good game on our hands as the 4 and 5 seed in the respective regional take on each other.
Yeah, this should be a fun game. I mean, anytime you see a game like, with 4 and 5 seeds, seeds are really close against each other, you expect a good game, and I believe this will be that one good game.
Absolutely. Both of these teams pretty evenly matched on the year. Pekin at 11 and 16 and 6th in the Mid-Illini, and Minooka sit at 13 and 14 and 3rd in the Southwest Prairie West.
Yeah, this should be a fun one, and two teams that haven't had the regular seasons that they probably would have won it. Not bad regular seasons, but at the end of the day, both of these teams, when you look at the records, they're very even, but at the end of the day, it's playoff season. These records need to be thrown out. It's all on the line tonight.
Absolutely. The regular season is obviously important, and you want to play good in the regular season to have momentum going into the postseason. But once the postseason hits, it's every game for themselves, really. You got to play as hard as you can, like it's the last game you could, because everybody knows it is. It can be.
Yeah, and for the Stingers, we saw this last game with Normal West, and by the way, that score was Normal Community knocking off their crushed rival Normal West 49-26. The winner of this game will face the Iron. And yeah, I mean, you see with the Stingers, they know that this is possibly their last game here, so in playing high school basketball, so they're for sure leaving it on the line. It's just a matter of who leaves it on the line and who cares the most.
And for Pekin, only 2 seniors on their roster, but there is a chance that if they lose tonight, they will lose in their home arena. Those 2 seniors are Sierra Sitter and Miley Hansen for the Dragons. So we get set here for lineups. But really, what a great way to start off the night as crosstown rivals as the first game. Normal West and Normal Community can't get much better than that, but we'll see how it will continue to improve.
Yeah, Normal West coming into this game on a bit of a hot streak, and you would have thought that maybe they would have given the number 1 seeded Ironman Ironwoman a run for their money, but at the end of the day, the Iron pulled away.
As the buzzers sound, we get set now for lineups here in Dottie Hawkins Gymnasium. Starting out is Minooka. As the lights go off here, getting that playoff atmosphere kick.
Pekin does it best. I really love this atmosphere here.
Starting out for the Indians, Kendall Thomas, the sophomore. Followed by Mackenzie Brass, the senior. Then Bree Cook, another senior. Number 24, Madeline Kuiper, the sophomore. And McKenna Delaney, the junior, rounding it out for the Indians. And now for the home Pekin Dragons. Fans getting into it a little bit. At guard, number 5, Allie Barnum. Followed by number 10, Zoe Korma, the junior. Then the spot-up shooter, Allie Lamb. The senior, Sierra Sitter. And rounding out with the other senior, Miley Hansen. And here we go.
Yeah, Pekin wearing their red uniforms on their home court. That's going to be a little bit of a difference for them. Now, you usually don't see that unless it is playoff season. So, just how the seating works, it doesn't matter if you play in your home court. You have to wear jerseys. You have to wear jerseys according to your seating.
Michael, as we go into this one, What are some things you got drawn up for keys to the game?
For Minooka, it's all about what I've talked with Coach Klex Cobb before the game, and she mentioned, a few players on their team. Mackenzie Brass is one of them, and Madeline Kuiper. They got to be difference makers for their team, and for Pekin, we talked about this before the game, Teddy, about them being more undersized compared to some of the teams that they play. So they got to do some of the things that undersized teams do to play well. They got to box out. They got to take care of the ball, because this Minooka team, they aren't the siziest team either, but they are definitely a little bigger than Pekin.
No doubt. As the inbound is won by Minooka, have it in the hands of Kendall Thomas. She passes it over to McKenna Delaney. Madeline Kuiper puts up the shot off the mark, rebounded by Minooka. Back to the top of the key. That three-point attempt is off the mark. Another offensive rebound, and it has finally got back in the hands of the Dragons thanks to Zoe Korma. She drives in, passes out to the corner, bobbled and out of bounds. That one will be turned over.
Yeah, right away
Right
away we see Madeline Kuiper shooting 2 shots on that possession. Any chance she gets this, she will shoot that jumper, and it's shown by her last performance, 17 points against Oswego.
Thomas passes over to Delaney. Delaney back to Kuiper. Kuiper finds Bree Cook. She feeds it to Mackenzie Bass, working around the perimeter. Back over to Kuiper. Thomas guarded by Barnum. They will say travel there on the Indians. Pekin ball. Allie Barnum will inbound for the Dragons. Barnum passes into Sitter. Sitter guarded by Cook. Feeds it to Hansen. Over to Korma. Korma passes back over to Sitter beyond the arc. Sitter swings to the other corner to Allie Lamb. She puts up the shot, and it is good. I mentioned as lineups came out, Allie Lamb, she's someone that can shoot the lights out when she needs to. Cannot leave her open as Pekin takes a 3-0 lead to start the game.
Yeah, Minooka playing a 2-3 zone, and that's what you get out of the 2-3 zone is good three-point jumpers, and Pekin moved the ball well there and got the nice shot.
Thomas goes over to Cook in the corner. Down low to Brass. She puts it up for 2. First points of the night for Minooka.
Yeah, Brass showing her physicality there.
Korma finds Hansen. Hansen gets to Lamb in transition, and she puts it up, and it bobbles in and out. No good. Rebounded by the Indians. More whistles will blow.
They're going to call a carry on Minooka.
So ball will stay with the Dragons. Or sorry, go back to the Dragons as Barnum will inbound yet again.
Yeah, that was Kuiper with the carry there for the Indians.
Sitter guarded by Thomas. Swing it over the corner to Zoe Korma. Pekin working around the perimeter as that one is tipped and out of bounds. It'll stay with the Dragons.
Yeah, the Indians already showing their good 2-3 zone. They've already gotten some deflections off of it, and if you can run a 2-3 zone or any zone for that matter to a good perfection, then it can bode well for your team.
Absolutely. Sierra Sitter gives it down to Korma down low. Korma dribbles up, passes by the elbow. Sitter finds Lamb. Lamb passes back to Sitter. Keeping it away from Thomas. There's another high point ball recovered this time by the Dragons. Find Lamb wide open for a mid-range jumper. No good. Ball is kept with Pekin. Layup attempt is no good. They keep it again. Good offensive rebounding by the Dragons, but they will lose it there on the steal. Minooka gives it down low, and they will have the first lead of the game for them.
Yeah, Kuiper is being very aggressive early on the offensive end. She's shot in 3 shots, and she's got her first field goal of the game on a nice floater.
You mentioned the 2-3 zone working out so well around the perimeter early on. That's really going to be hard for Pekin to get around. Pekin not a height-dominated team as the 3 goes up there by Barnum off the front of the rim, rebounded by Thomas.
Yeah, Pekin, they're playing this 3-3 zone actually better than I actually would have expected. They're getting a lot of good shots on the wing, and it's a nice drive there by the Indians. But Pekin, they've done this 2-3 zone well, and they've gotten some good shots on the wing. That's what you got to do in a 2-3 zone.
Korma passes back to Sitter. Sitter guarded by Cook. Gives it to Barnum. Swing it over to Lamb. She gives it down low to the post. Miley Hansen has it. Thought about the shot. Doesn't take it. Finds Sitter at the top of the key. Three-point is up. Bobbles in. The second bucket of the night for the Dragons. 2 threes already. 6-4 is the score. Kendall Thomas gives it over to Delaney. Delaney guarded by Lamb. Back to Kuiper. The Indians really stepping away from that line, a couple feet back. As the ball is tipped, and they're fighting for it down low, and Korma will have it, and whistles will blow. Possession arrow in favor of Pekin.
Yeah, what an effort by Korma. They're going for loose ball. I mean, the Minooka defender, Kuiper, she was right there. She was right there to get the ball. She should have dived on it, but she didn't. But Korma did, and she definitely won that loose ball, and she gave her team the possession. The
farther you space out along the perimeter, the farther you're going to have to pass, and those tipped balls are going to be easier to come by for the Dragons. Got to be careful about that. Give it over to Covert. Covert finds Korma. Korma dips into the corner. Back up to Sitter. They ran that play last time out. Didn't work that time, but they're getting shots open.
Yeah, they're passing it to the short corner and giving it to the middle. And when you give it to the middle, there's a three-pointer there. But you get it to the middle in a zone, like a 2-3 zone, just any zone really for that matter, it collapses the defense and it lets three-point shooters be wide open. So it's a good play design by the Dragons.
Sitter gives it over to Lamb. Lamb guarded by Thomas. Back to Sitter. Finds Covert. Covert guarded by Brass. Whistles will blow there. And it will stay in possession of the Dragons. Sitter going down to inbound. Passes into Lamb. Lamb quickly feeds it down to Covert. Covert trying to post up, spins off and puts it up. No good on the layup attempt. Rebounded by the Indians. Pass it down, have Brass. She takes the shot. Almost falls, but won't. Kept in bounds by Allie Lamb. Gives it to Miley Hansen. She's fighting for the ball. More whistles will blow. I believe it'll be called a timeout, and it will. Timeout for Pekin.
Yeah, a good timeout by the Dragons. I mean, they caught a break there with leaving Brass wide open. Brass being one of Minooka's best offensive players. I think she was really surprised to see herself that wide open, but once again, Pekin catches a break there, a missed shot.
Pekin doing a great job, we mentioned, around the perimeter, but those perimeter shots are leading to open looks down low. They missed the last layup attempt they took down there, but consistently, if you get those opportunities, you're bound to knock them down eventually. That's why they have a 2-point lead early on, but 2:49 left to go here in the first. We got a close one, 6-4.
This is everything but that we expected here, a 4 seed and a 5 seed. That the 5 seed being Pekin and Minooka being the 4. So expect this one to be close all night long.
The winner of this game will take on Normal West, so should be Normal Community. Sorry, it should be a good matchup regardless of the outcome of this game. Lamb has it, drives in, passes over to Covert. Covert fakes out the mid-range jumper, gives it back to Hansen. Hansen gets Sitter. Sitter drives in, passes out to Lamb. Lamb for 3. Another one off the mark, rebounded by Covert, fighting for it down low. More whistles will blow. They'll say reach-in foul, I believe. And it'll stay with Pekin. Sitter will inbound.
Yeah, great effort by Covert. There was at least 2 to 3 Minooka Indians right by her, and she gets the loose ball. That's something Minooka cannot let happen, and she draws the foul. So great overall effort by Covert.
Sitter passes into Korma. Korma posting up, spin move down low, and they put it up for 2.
That was a pretty move by Korma, and she gets her first 2 of the night.
Also checking in for the Dragons, Allie Barnum. Out goes Miley Hansen. She gets a break. Kuiper that finds Cook. Cook takes up the shot. No good to be rebounded by Lamb, and they fight for the ball. It's Lamb and Brass. It'll stay this time with the Indians. They have possession arrow. Now to go back to Pekin. Cook passes into Thomas. Thomas guarded by Sitter. Takes a step back. And gives it over to Kuiper. Kuiper nearly loses it, keeps her dribble. Delaney puts up the shot, no good. The Indians will get their own rebound. Have it back over to Kuiper. Feeds it down low to Brass, and it'll be tipped out of bounds. Pekin ball.
Yeah, there's too much individual offense with Kuiper now. I mean, she's on the top of the key, and immediately she looks to shoot it. And I know she can score in bunches. She's shown that throughout the season, but you got to incorporate more of your offense to have success.
Sitter dribbles right, hands off to Korma. Korma feeds Lamb at the top of the key. She goes over to Covert. Sorry, Barnum. Sitter feeds it down low to Covert. She puts it up for an easy 2.
Yeah, Pekin's finding good ways to attack that 2-3 zone. They get the ball in the middle. It collapses the defense, like I said, and right there was the short corner, and she scores.
3-point shot by Minooka off the side of the rim. It'll be kept in bounds. Brass feeds it over to Thomas. Thomas puts up the 3. Another off the side of the rim. They get their own rebound. Second chance shot. Third chance shot. Won't go. Barnum gets the rebound. Wanted a little bit of contact there. Doesn't get called. Korma gives it back to Sitter.
I won't be surprised if the Dragons hold for the final shot. They might try to do that, which is a tough test to do with just over 30 seconds left.
They slow their dribbling down a little bit. It appears they might, but if an opportunity comes, Ms. Korma will take it. She's definitely holding for that last shot. 20 seconds left to go here in the first. Now they'll run the play.
Risky.
Nearly stolen there by Cook. Sitter has it. Heavily guarded. Gives it over to Korma. Korma drives in. Loses control and just slips down there in the paint. It gives 7 seconds for the Indians to make a play. Plenty of time.
Yeah, plenty of time to run a set, run a play, and try to get a good shot.
Thomas guarded by Sitter. Drives in. Tries to dish it over to the corner with 1.9 to go. And whistles will blow.
Yeah, that's a good foul by the Dragons. They realized that they haven't committed a foul all quarter, and they have fouls to give for sure. They had 4 before they even go to the line. So if you have 10 seconds, you have 4 fouls to give. Why not get a foul in a good time?
Why not? Inbounding for the Indians, McKenna Delaney. She passes over to the corner. 3-point shot is up and good. And they will call it good. 10-7 is the lead. Pekin was looking at a 6-point game. Now just a 3, one-possession game. We go into the second quarter, 10-7. Very close one. Defense is playing good. Offensive have shown their promise as well.
Yeah, Pekin, the reason why they have this lead right now is just because they've attacked the Minooka zone well. They've attacked that 2-3 zone well. And for Minooka, it's all about what can they do without, Kuiper and Brass taking the shots, because their offense looks out of sync right now.
Sure thing, Michael. We'd like to take an opportunity to remind you that Clutch Sports Media can play a large role in expanding your business. We play host to some of the most passionate and dedicated fans in Central Illinois. So if that sounds like an audience you'd like to connect with, reach out to us at clutchsportsil.com for more information. Our team and marketing experts are excited to help your brand awareness expand, so email us at clutchsportsil.com today for a variety of partnership options to choose from. We look forward to working with you.
Just for the local folks in the area, we got some scores and we got some games to look forward to. Peoria Richwoods playing at Galesburg with the host Silver Streaks, and that game is tipped off, and we don't have an official score on that game, but that is a game that is going on. Washington was playing Streeter. That game is, I'm assuming it's over. It started at 6, but there's no official score on IHSA for that either, among other games.
Washington played really good this season. Lost some players last year that obviously some seniors always go, but 3 goes up there by Barnum, bobbles, almost falls in. Allie Lamb tries to keep it in bounds, it won't.
Another good shot by the Dragons in that zone. In some other games, Morin is playing Limestone at Galesburg. That game was also, I'm assuming, over. It started at 6. But I haven't gotten a score for that one either.
Thomas gives it to Cook. Cook guarded by Covert. Thomas feeds it over to Kuiper. She tries to feed it down low, and they get control of the ball, and it will lose it after the catch. They'll say it was last touched by Pekin, so it'll stay with Minooka. Cook goes to pass in. Finds Brass. Brass guarded by Hansen. Spins off. Korma on the other side finds Thomas. Thomas quickly gives it over. Barnum on the stop on defense. Tries to get the steal. Brass will drive in. We'll say she traveled, and the layup is up and good, but it will not count due to the travel. Barnum passes in for the Dragons.
Well, one ref, I'm confused now because one ref put a carry and another ref put double dribble. So, I mean, I guess violation is a violation at the end of the day.
I was entirely off then. Korma finds Lamb. Lamb over back to Korma for 3 in the corner, and it is up and good.
Yeah, Zoe Korma, good offensive threat for this Dragons team, and she starts the second quarter on a good note.
Brass gives it over. Fine Cook, guarded by Korma. Delaney gives it back to Cook. Try to feed it down low, pushes it back out to the corner to Thomas. She drives in, tries to find the corner, just too far out of reach, and that will be Pekin ball yet again.
Yeah, once again, Minooka, I mean, they're having trouble on offense. I mean, you can't just rely on your two best scorers. I mean, they can score. That is Brass and Kuiper, but at the end of the day, I mean, they got to have all 5 girls on the court be on the same page, and it looks like they haven't been on the same page.
Pekin's zone defense has really helped them limit those 2 stars from taking too much of advantage of the game. Lamb guarded by Kuiper. Gives it over to Sitter, top of the key, guarded by Cook. A little bit of a short pass, stolen by Brass. She's going to put it up, draws the contact, and she will get the extra point attempt. No.
Yep. On the floor.
I'm entirely wrong on that.
But Minooka switches from their 2-3 zone to man-to-man, and that pays off for them. I don't think Pekin understood what defense the Indians were in.
Here's the foul was before the shot, so there will be no free throws. Minooka inbounding yet again. Cook over to the corner to Thomas, wide open for 3 off the side of the rim. Rebounded by Cook, second chance opportunity. 3-point shot at the top of the key is up. Another one bobbled and rebounded by Covert for the Dragons.
If you look up, Lamb was wide open and on the fast break, but they didn't look up in time. But they start on offense nonetheless.
Sitter over to the corner. Covert's 3-point attempt won't go. Thomas drives in on Lamb. A little bit of contact and whistles will blow.
Yeah, I like how aggressive the Indians have been, and it's about time they get someone else in the game really that's trying to score. I mean, it's just been Brass and Kuiper to this point, but Kendall Thomas drawing the contact, and she'll be at the line for 2.
Thomas's first shot around the rim won't fall. Thomas, a very, very quick guard. She's shown a few times throughout the game. She just easily drives in. She's passed out a couple of times, but there she takes it herself and takes a trip to the line. The second chance from beyond the free throw line is good. But it will not count.
Oh, a lane violation.
Score remains 13-7. Sitter has it. Cook guards up on Sitter. Barnum hands back off. Top of the key to Korma. Korma bounces it over to Lamb. Lamb finds Sitter. Sitter drives in. As the screen loses the ball, Lamb for 3. Long 3, won't fall. Tried to keep it in, but Barnum just on the line.
The Dragons in the Indians 2-3 zone were finding good shots, but ever since the Indians went to their man-to-man defense, they've been taking some questionable shots. I mean, that 3-pointer by Lamb was not the most desired shot, I don't think, for Coach McGinnis. So we'll see if the Dragons downside in the court do a better job.
3-point shot is up by Dahlberg. She'll try to get her own rebound. And goes down, but she pops right back up.
Yeah, that's a hard hit by Korma. I mean, they both were going for the ball. It just so happened that the Minooka defender was staying still, and Korma was going in at almost full speed and took her out, not on purpose. It was an accident, but yeah.
Indians find Brass down low, and it'll be out of bounds, but it'll stay with them. Last touch by Hansen. Again, top of the key to Kuiper. Kuiper throws up a 3 off the front of the rim, rebounded by Korma. Korma gives it over to Sitter. Nice little spin move on Thomas. Threads the needle down low to Barnum, gives it back to Sitter, finds Lamb wide open for the top of the key. She puts it up, just barely misses. Rebounded by Hanson. She'll give it to Korma. Spins off of Brass. Has Barnum. Barnum puts up a three, and it's good. The perimeter focus by the Dragon has really worked out, and it's been able to find some open looks down low as well.
Yeah, the Indians, I'm not really sure what they were doing there. No one picked up Barnum on the three-point line, and she figures, why not let it fly?
The man defense they were putting on the past couple possessions that were working out, they seemed like they didn't use it on that one. Left Barnum wide open for three as Colbert is in to check in. Brass gets it. Over to Kuiper. Kuiper finds Thomas, guarded by Sitter. Over to the corner. Thought about the three, finds Brass down low. Brass drives in. No foul called. She wanted it. Korma has it.
Yeah, good job by Korma. Standing still, her arms are up, and good job not causing a foul there.
Lamb gives it to Hanson, guarded by Kuiper. Send back over to Sitter, finds Korma. Spins off, puts up the floater, rebounded by Sitter. Sitter will go over to the top, finds Lamb for three.
Nice shot by Lamb for the three-point shot, and I got to think that's in her range. I mentioned before that might not be the shot McGinnis wanted, her prior three-pointer, but if she can make that, it's definitely in her range.
It's the first timeouts by the Indians are called. Definitely probably a good time as Pekin, you don't want to let them get on a run. We mentioned them and their perimeter shooting that can really just, when it's on fire, it is on fire. There's a reason why they are 11 and 16, so the record hasn't shown exactly what they can do, but what I've seen firsthand from the games I have seen from this girls team, when they're shooting well, they're one of the better teams in the conference of the Mid-Illini and really in Central Illinois. They can play really well and compete with the best of them.
Yeah, not many teams can say they've had 4 or 5 girls that can definitely shoot the three-point ball, and that's what you have with the Dragons. You got to talk about Allie Barnum hit a three-pointer. Zoe Korma hit a three-pointer. We saw Lambie just hit her three. She's got 2 of them, and Sierra Sitter's also got a 3. So it's not often you see 4 or 5 girls on a team that can definitely shoot the ball the way Pekin has. So if they can keep this rolling, I mean, they could be a sneaky favorite in 4A to even probably win a sectional. I mean, who knows? At the end of the day, I mean, if they can shoot like this against Community, if they were to win this game, then who knows?
Anything is possible in playoff basketball. We've seen crazy things happen in these regional and sectional games. And Pekin in their last 6 games are 3-3. One of those wins coming against one of the top 1A teams in the state of Illinois, being Illini Bluffs. I believe a 6-point lead over them just a couple weeks ago. Drives in, passes over to the corner, finds Brass. Brass gives it to Kuiper. Kuiper spins off back to Brass, top of the key, fakes the 3, posts back up, gives it back to Kuiper, and they will say she traveled.
Yep, she definitely did. She took 2 steps there. She didn't necessarily corral the ball in a legal manner, and she gets called for the travel. And for Minooka, they haven't scored a field goal in the second quarter, and it's really only been Brass and Kuiper. Kendall Thomas, of course, went to the line, but she didn't have a single point there, so it's got to be other people for the Indians if they want to get back in this game.
Sitter has it downhill, had 2-on-2 opportunity, slows it down, gives it to Barnum. Brass picking up on Barnum. Sitter thought about the 3, spins off. Gives it to Korma. Now Lamb has he's over, slows it down, gives it to Sitter in the corner, wide open, 3-point attempt is up, off the side of the rim. Brass fighting for it with Lamb, and it will stay with Pekin.
It will stay at the Dragons, but you can't fault the senior Brass's effort there trying to get the loose ball. It's what you want to see out of senior in their possible final game.
Korma picked up by Cook. Lamb crosses over, gives it to Barnum, top of the key. Sorry, not top of the key, but corner. Cormac drives in, gets stripped by Thomas. She has it in transition. She's super quick. Blows past Barnum, and the layup is off the back of the backboard. No good. Rebounded by Lamb.
You said she was quick, she said she was quick, but maybe she was too quick for that layup.
Cobert's layup is up and no good. Fights for the rebound, doesn't get it. Brass has it. Over to Thomas. Thomas gives it to Cook. Cook across the court over to Kuiper. Kuiper really across the court. Brass down low, spin move, floater, up, no good. She falls, gets back up. Korma and Sitter slow it down. A minute to go left here in the first half.
Yeah, Minooka hasn't had a field goal at all this quarter. You gotta respect the defense of the Dragons at this point.
Playing the scheme very well.
Definitely.
Sitter over to Covert. Covert puts it up, and it goes in. Another three-point basket is up and good for the Dragons. They're shooting lights out here in the second quarter as Minooka tries one of their own off the side of the rim.
That is now 5 Dragons that have made a three-pointer. I mean, just unbelievable, honestly, at this point. I mean, not a lot of teams can say they have 5 girls that can definitely shoot a three-point ball.
It shows the trust they have in each other as well, giving each other opportunities like that in playoff games. Pekin really slowing things down, going to probably try for that last shot. Little bump there. Another one by Thomas, and whistles will blow.
Yeah, the one positive I can say about the Indians to this point is that they have not committed a foul in this quarter compared to Pekin's 4, so they definitely have fouls to give, and if Pekin wants to hold for the final shot, then Minooka probably will try to foul them at certain points.
Barnum gives it in to Sitter.
Or at least just play aggressive.
Sitter bounces over to Korma. Korma feeds it down low to Barnum. She puts it up. Brass there in contention, but it will be out of bounds on 53.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if we had a 53 on Minooka's roster. I was looking on Max Preps. Max Preps, give or take, I mean, some schools will have it trustworthy. I mean, I'm not saying Minooka didn't have it, but we go on.
Sitter inbounding, trying to find someone open. Gives it to Korma with a little bit of time. Post up. Gives it out to Barnum. Barnum had an open shot, but
they're going to get 3 seconds on Korma.
Was down there for a second or two. 3 to go left here in the second. 22-7. Minooka needs to get a shot off to get this thing a little bit closer. There's a too high pass to the corner. Won't go. At the half, 22-7 is the score. Close one in the first, but Pekin really pulled away there in the second due to their three-point shooting and just the defense that they've locked into.
Yeah, really the key is the difference is that Pekin, they've had, what is it now, five players on their team have scored at least a basket. 5 different players have shot a 3 and made a 3. So their three-point shooting has been it. And then we look on the opposite side with Minooka. They've only had 2 players score in the entire game so far, that being Brass and Kuiper. Kuiper with 2, Brass with 5, and they didn't even score a field goal in the second quarter. So it's just been the difference of, having quantity versus quality. So going into the locker room for Minooka, Coach Klexka has to talk about with their players, hey, you guys need to step up. All these other players need to step up. And for the Dragons, it's all about keeping the defensive pressure going and keeping the three-point shooting going, Teddy, because you've talked about it. This team can really shoot.
Absolutely. When they're on, they're on. And I've seen that firsthand from the games I've been able to come out here and call for Pekin. But for Minooka, I haven't gotten a chance to see them too much. But what I have seen in this game, they have players that have the ability to score. You just got to spread the ball around a little bit more. And hopefully in the second half, they can do that and get this game a little bit closer and more competitive. But really, it's not too far of a swing. 22-7 is not the biggest lead we've seen in games like this, and we've seen much bigger comebacks happen. But we're going to take a second and step aside. We'll be right back in a little bit with more halftime analysis.
Central Illinois, we're going to overtime. After 4 years of preps coverage in Central Illinois, Clip Sports Media is ready for a new era. CSM Overtime.
What is CSM Overtime? we're going beyond the broadcast to give you in-depth coverage of your teams,
Your stories, your stats and standings.
your highlights and action shots.
With your subscription, you'll get to see news and feature stories from all sports, up-to-date stats from around the area, and thoughtful analysis from our team of experts. As for our broadcast and social media coverage, it's only getting better.
With your support of Clutch Sports Media Overtime, we'll continue to grow our free broadcast coverage with more sports, more games, and more innovation.
And thanks to our partnership with Too Efficient Media, your social media feeds will be filled with Central Illinois' best sights and sounds. CSM Overtime will also give you access to full galleries from some of the most talented photographers and videographers in our region.
As the new season approaches, it's time for more.
More action. More stories.
More coverage of all Central Illinois sports. It's Clutch Sports Media Overtime.
Attention business owners and entrepreneurs. Are you ready to take your brand to the next level? Look no further than Clutch Sports Media, your go-to destination for local high school sports coverage in Central Illinois. Our business has reached almost 1 million total views on YouTube and is connected with an astounding 39,000 accounts on social media, averaging thousands of views with each post. That's 39,000 engaged and passionate sports enthusiasts who love tuning into our content, ready to become your new customer. Clutch Sports Media is offering an exclusive opportunity for local businesses to seize the spotlight. We are opening up prime advertising spaces in our social media posts and live sports broadcasts. Partnering with Clutch Sports Media isn't just about visibility. It's about being part of a community that loves and embraces the spirit of sports. It's about making lasting connections with your target audience. Don't miss out on this winning opportunity. Clutch Sports Media, where Central Illinois plays its biggest games.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm Teddy Ball along with Michael Savoy. Michael, it's a pretty interesting first half. First quarter was tightly contested all the way through, and the second one, Dragons really pulled away. Now a 22-7 lead. We talked about some keys going into the game, but it's a lot different game than it was at 0-0. What would you say both of these squads can do to either maintain their lead or get back into it?
For Pekin to maintain their lead, I mean, we saw it, Teddy, and you've already talked about it. Their three-point shooting, they've had 5 Dragons so far have hit three-point shots. Sarah Sitter, Allie Lambie, Cadence Covert, Zoe Korma, and Allie Barnum have all hit three-point shots. So you got to keep that three-point shooting started. And against that 2-3 zone, if Minooka were to come out of the half doing that, because they did a lot in the first quarter, they got a lot of good shots on the wing for 3. And when they played, when Minooka switched their man-to-man defense, they played really aggressive. And Pekin was just cutting back and forth, and they got a lot of good looks close to the basket. And for Minooka, it's all about all the other players besides the 2 who have scored so far. Mackenzie Brass and Madeline Kuiper have scored. The only players that have scored for the Indians, so it's all about the other players. And based on past performances, other Indians have stepped up and played well. Kendall Thomas, number 3 for the Indians, she had 12 points, 4 assists, and 4 steals against Oswego, their most recent game. So she can definitely step up. And Bree Cook also for the Indians, she didn't score a point, but she had 8 rebounds and 2 assists. So she can definitely step up and be a difference maker for this team. So if I'm Minooka, it's all about the other players that have to step up.
For me, what I see is more defensively for both of them. For Minooka, I think you gotta get more turnovers. Pekin has played such a clean game and really not turned the ball over at all to this point in the game. They've just been able to, keep their possessions clean, and that's what's helping them move the ball around the perimeter, shoot well. So for Minooka, definitely try to get your hand on some of those passes around and try to deflect some stuff and get the ball in your hands. And as for Pekin, you got to get going on the offense or defensive rebounds. Minooka has gotten so many second chance opportunities, but I will give it to them. They haven't made the best of their second chance opportunities, but regardless, the high efficient shots eventually are going to start to land. At least that's the mindset you should have as a coach. So you got to limit those down. That's definitely something I think Brett McGinnis will focus on and talk to his girls at halftime.
Yeah, and the good thing about Pekin's defense is that it's not hard to guard a team that has 2 players to this point that have been aggressors, and they've only been the 2 aggressors, so it's not hard to guard them at all. And credit to the Dragons defense. I mean, they don't have to double team them. I mean, the one-on-one defense from this Dragons team has been unbelievable to this point. It speaks to, Minooka in the second quarter. They didn't score a single basket, so good job on the Pekin defense.
The zone defense that Pekin runs, I will say, I've mentioned earlier in the day and even throughout the season, some of the things you might see off the bat from this Pekin team is, the height. The height isn't necessarily there. Tallest player on their team is Allie Barnum, who she is tall and she plays great defense, very aggressive on rebounds, but not necessarily the height you might see from other teams around Central Illinois. But the way that they play their height, the way that they play their defensive schemes helps them limit maybe players much bigger than them, maybe players a lot faster than them, and they play well as a unit. They really buy into Coach McGinnis' system, and I think that's what helps them come out in these big games.
Yeah, we mentioned about them being a smaller team, and usually most of their games, they're not the tallest team. But what comes with that, if you really want to be successful as a smaller team, you got to be smart, and that's why I talked about, when Minooka switched from their 2-3 to a man-to-man defense, they were doing cuts to the basket, and they were getting good quality looks right by the basket. So that's why they built this lead up. And it should be a fun, exciting second half. I'm sure Minooka doesn't want to end their season right now. I'm sure they want to fight back in this game. And I'm sure the message in the locker room from Minooka was very, very positive for the Indians, knowing that, hey, this is it. 2 more quarters, 1 more half to go. Yeah.
Playoff basketball, really playoff sports, any sport in IHSA and just around high school, college, even professional level, it definitely elevates the game of the players involved, and you definitely don't want to go out a bad way in your last possible game in high school. Or even, if you're a sophomore or a junior and, you feel like this is a great season for you, you don't want to go out any time except for, with a state championship ring on your finger. So both of these teams are going to be battling, and it's interesting to see how Minooka will answer back in this second half. Once again, 22-7 is the score. We get set for second half action. I'm excited, Michael.
I'm excited too. And by the way, we have a final score in the East Peoria sectional in the 3A. And number 2 seeded Bloomington falls to Morris in the Morris Regional. The host Morris beat Bloomington 56-35. They beat him by 21, and they await the winner of Kankakee and Ottawa for that regionals championship. So you can call that upset all you want, but the Purple Raiders are out of the postseason.
It's unfortunate. Credit to both teams on a great season. And here we go. The horns blow. Second half action is underway. Cook into inbound for Minooka. She has Kuiper and Thomas down low with her. She'll give it to Brass. Brass feeds it over the corner to Kuiper, guarded by Hansen. Kuiper posts up, spin move, fade. No good on the mid-range jumper. Rebound by Korma.
Yeah, Kuiper once again being aggressive out of the open, and this has been an issue so far for the Indians. As long as they don't score, it's been a recurring issue of just their same players shooting.
Lamb finds Sitter in the corner. 3-point shot by Sitter off and no good. Hansen gets the rebound, drives in, puts up a layup attempt off the back of the backboard. No good. Rebound by Normal. Sorry, not Normal. Minooka.
Yeah, the same colors. I got to give it to you. It'd be a little confusing.
Kuiper puts up the shot. No good. Rebounded by Thomas. Gives it to Brass. She puts up the shot and fouled by Barnum.
Let's see if Minooka can finally get something on the board. They've been scoreless for the past, I give it around 10 to 11 minutes of the game action, and let's see if Brass can knock down a couple shots in the free throw line.
They get their first attempt since Kendall Thomas took a trip to the line and went 1 for 2. First one from Brass, no good.
Yeah, just seeing one fall through the basket for this Indians team would be a big confidence booster.
And the second one does fall. So first points of the second half and of the second and third quarter. Now they're going to press, full court press on the Dragons, switching it up a little bit.
I like the idea, and that's why, because you get the Dragons flustered. They didn't expect the press by the Indians, and maybe the Indians can finally capitalize and get some points.
I think they realize you never want to be in a stressful situation with a couple minutes to go, because then you're highly likely to turn the ball over and make decisions that are on the fly not good. So they're trying to push this pace early on and get back in as soon as they can. Thomas finds it over to Delaney. Delaney gives it to Kuiper. Kuiper over to Cooks. Back to Kuiper. Drives in. Tries to find the corner. Keep it in bounds. No, they'll say it'll hit the line. So Korma will inbound for the Dragons.
It's better defense by the Indians, but so far the offense for the start of the second half, the start of the third quarter, they've been pretty much stagnant, pretty much the same. Another steal.
Sitter trying to thread the needle, hit off the leg of Hansen. Recovered by Cooks, gives it over to Thomas. Thomas puts up a layup attempt, no good. Rebound Korma. Korma in transition, using her speed. Breaks through the defense and puts up the layup attempt. It's good. Great move there by Korma, stepping through two defenders to make the bucket. Thomas, she's trying to answer right back as she drives and her speed and hits off the bottom of the rim. Unfortunate for her. Great layup attempt, great drive. Now Sitter will try to slow things down, guarded by Thomas.
Yeah, the Indians have not scored a field goal. They scored that one free throw, but that doesn't count as a field goal. They haven't scored for at least about 12 minutes.
Korma yet again, another layup attempt, and that will be short little timeout called. Thomas tries to tie her shoe, but back-to-back layup attempts by Korma. She's using her speed down low. This is something I had circled. Korma's athleticism is really impressive to see. She's a great shooter, great defender, but her athleticism is truly one of her best attributes. Really fast, can jump out the gym, and really elevates her teams at all levels. Rebound by the Dragons. Sitter gives it to Korma.
Yeah, that was Delaney with the jumper for the Indians. I believe that's her first jumper of the game. That's someone other than the top scorers, Kuiper and Brass. So a good sign for this Minooka team. Even though she didn't make the shot, she took it.
Korma cut off by Kuiper, gives it over to Hansen. She finds Sitter. Sitter back to Lamb, top of the key, drives in, dishes to Hansen down low. She puts up, hits off the side of the rim. Rebounded by Delaney. Passes to Thomas. Thomas takes a step back. Gives it over to Kuiper. Kuiper down low to Brash, posts up, puts up the two, and it will fall. First field goal to land in the last two quarters.
Yeah, Brass using her big body, her strength to get that bucket, and it's pretty much like a dynamic duo for this Minooka team, Brass and Kuiper. Kuiper with the assist.
Cut the lead down to 16. Barnum goes over, guarded by Thomas, gives it to Hansen. Hansen over to Korma. Thought about the three, won't take it as Brass contends. Bounces to Lamb. Lamb had the screen set up, goes the other way. Barnum passes back to Korma, over to Sitter. She swings it to Hansen, mid-range jumper off the side of the rim. Brass has it in transition, 1-on-2. Spins off.
Oh, what a move.
Barnum puts it up for two. Now she has four here in the third. Get the offenses rolling for Minooka. Now Korma, she's going in transition. 1-on-1 with Brass. Goes out to the corner, slows it down. Finds Sitter, top of the key, guarded by Thomas. And she's stripped. She gets her own ball. Over to the corner, Korma drives in, puts up the layup, and one.
What a way to answer from Zoe Korma. And we've seen her from the start of the second half. She's been really aggressive. She's been driving to the basket. We saw a coast-to-coast finish not too long ago, and now she goes from the corner to the basket and draws the and one.
She's doing exactly what this Pekin team needs. Minooka knows they can shoot the ball, so they're trying to limit those opportunities, and Korma taking the best of that advantage and driving in and getting the foul there. Free throw attempt off the mark, rebound by Barnum. And she will lose control of the ball. Cook gets it for Minooka. Passes over to Kuiper. Kuiper drives in. Picked up by Covert. Puts up to mid-range, top of the key three. Won't fall. Covert has it and slows things down. Passes back to Korma. She finds Sitter. 3:36 left to go here in the third. Tough defense by Minooka. As Barnum will trip up and foul will be called there on the Indians.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, you're down 16. You gotta make something happen on the defensive end. Your season's on the line now, and you gotta play more aggressive. I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, at this point, I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but you're gonna be drawing more fouls. Ideally, if you play more aggressive, so you gotta be careful.
Sitter bounces over to Covert. Heavily guarded. Trying to post up, she'll drive in, puts up the layup attempt, and it'll just bounce off. By the way, out goes Zoe Korma. In comes Leah Brown for the Dragons. And that is stripped by Allie Lamb. She'll drive in. She's got a defender behind her.
Ooh.
Tries to cross over and just runs into the body of Bree Cook.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Allie Lamb, she had the fast break. She knew what to do with the ball, but she slipped, and add salt to the wound there, she also slips into a charge, and that's a foul on her.
Korma will check back into the game. Pekin playing things safe, not having anyone push up beyond half court. Keep your lead as best as they can. Try to play it clean. Covert picks up Kuiper. Kuiper crosses over, drives in and loses the ball. Recovered by her teammate to put it up for the floater. No good. Rebound Covert. Dragons pass it back to Sitter. Cook on Sitter. Finds Covert on the right side. Little crossover move on Kuiper. Korma will drive in. One-on-one opportunity. Layup is off the bottom of the rim.
If they look up, they got numbers. Oh, no, they're going to push it back now. Yep, that was travel.
Travel there on Minooka. That's what we were talking about, the turnovers. Not only was I mentioning, trying to get more turnovers out of Pekin, but you cannot let those turnovers be even. You got to try to take advantage of that battle. So far, Minooka has not been able to do that in the second half. It's another foul will go, this time on Naya Carter, the freshman.
Yeah, Carter, the freshman, into the game. You got to wonder if this is just something that can, give Minooka some life, and for that foul call, I mean, she was just late to the spot there. She had the right intentions, but late to the spot.
Kendall Thomas comes back by the scoring table. Lamb bounce pass over to Korma in the corner. Korma finds Sitter wide open at the top of the key. Pump fakes, dishes it down low to Lamb. Mid-range jumper, and it's good.
It's a pretty shot by Lamb.
Carter gives it to Cooks. Cooks over the corner to Delaney. Delaney's three-point attempt nearly falls, just a little too far. And Covert has it, gives it to Sitter.
I like the shot attempt there, even though it didn't go in for Delaney. I appreciate her taking some shots and being aggressive, because so far it's really been a Mackenzie Brass show in the second half.
Korma finds Lamb top of the key, and she is good again from three. She's shooting lights out so far in this game. As a timeout is called there. Minute 19 to go here in the third, and Pekin continue their reign from beyond the arc. 33-12 is your score at this point.
I was not expecting this. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, a 4 and a 5 seed, ideally you'd want to see a close game. That's what most people would probably think about seeing. But, I mean, it's just been, like I said before, quantity versus quality. Minooka Indians, you only have 2 players that have recorded field goals for you so far. We're just a little bit away from ending the third quarter, so that's got to change for them if they really want a chance to get back in this game. It's really been Mackenzie Brass in the whole third quarter. She's got all 5 points so far for the Indians, and like I said, quantity versus quality. The quantity part of it goes to the Dragons. I mean, they've been lights out shooting, and they've got multiple players shooting the rock and scoring the rock.
I agree with you on that. Although Brass has done a good job of scoring in this third quarter, it's not necessarily that the scoring from her is the problem, because she's doing great, but just if you continuously leave the ball in the hands of one person, eventually Pekin is going to, pick up on that, and they have at this point. They've been slowing down and answering back on their own.
And that's why Delaney's three-point shooting, and that's why Coach Klexka talked to me before about the game, is there's a nice shot there by Kuiper, and that's her first bucket of the third quarter. But Delaney shooting the ball has been pretty key for the Indians.
Korma had it in transition, gives it to Covert. Covert fakes over to the left. Gets her own rebound, has Lamb wide open from three. She's been so deadly, that one does not fall, and it will be hit off the foot of Korma and it will go to the Titans. Good play there by Cook.
Yeah, good awareness there by Cook to throw it off the Pekin defender, and maybe this gives the Indians some life here. Maybe they can get a basket. Maybe they hold it for the final shot even, but that doesn't look to be the case.
Carper drives right, creates a little bit of space. Mid-range jumper won't fall. Rebound by Sitter. Pekin definitely, their game plan is to slow things down. They have a sizable lead. They don't want the pace of play by Minooka to affect them.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to hold for the final shot. Minooka is not having any of it, though.
Minooka will foul there. 20.1 left to go in the third.
That foul is on Kendall Thomas.
Hansen inbounding. Long ball over to Sitter. Thomas picks her up. Sitter finds Covert. Covert down low to Hansen. Hansen guarded by Brass. Posts up a little bit, dishes back out beyond the arc to Sitter. Sitter finds Lamb, wide open, top of the key. That shot won't fall. Brass has it, .1 to go. Chucks up a shot, and it will be short. The end of three, 33-14 is your score. And what was a really good game in the end of the first has quickly become a great game by the Dragons and a not-so-great game by Minooka.
Yeah, I hope the younger folks and the high school players that might be watching this stream, whether you're in girls basketball or boys basketball, I hope they're watching this and realizing that it takes a team to win, and that's what Pekin has so far. It's been a team effort for the Dragons and not so much of a team effort by the Indians. I mean, Mackenzie Brass has been the only Indian that has scored in the third quarter going into the fourth. She's got all but 4 of the team's points.
Absolutely. She's played a great game to this point. But we would like to take a quick opportunity to remind you that Clutch Sports Media can play a large role in expanding your business's reach. We play host to some of the most passionate and dedicated fans in Central Illinois. So if that sounds like an audience you'd like to connect with, reach out to us at clutchsportsil.com for more information. Our team and marketing experts are excited to help your brand awareness and expand. So email us, clutchsportsil.com today for a variety of partnership options to choose from. We look forward to working with you and your company. Both teams break, get set for the final quarter of action. 8 minutes to go here in this regional matchup.
Some Big 12 news right here. Number 4 seed Champaign Central. Last score update against Decatur Eisenhower, 36-13. The Maroons are looking like they're well ahead of things and moving on to their regional championship game to face Mount Zion.
Korma has it picked up by Kuiper. Physical defense by Minooka early in the fourth. Got to be careful. Don't want to cause any fouls. Sitter goes over to Hansen. Hansen gives it to Korma, drives in, and she slips on her own foot.
Oh, no, she's going to say she was tripped.
I mean, I think she slipped a little bit before any contact was made by a defender, but I'm also not in the stripes. So
Yeah,
I'll trust what they say.
They're going to say Kuiper tripped her, and I mean, yeah, we don't have the view that the officials do, so we can't really judge them.
Mid-range floater by Covert is no good.
Yeah, Covert a little bit awkward there with the steps. She took 2 steps before that shot, so good call by the ref saying it was a travel.
Cook passes into Thomas. Thomas finds Kuiper guarded by Covert. We're going to see a very fast-paced offense coming out by Minooka, I assume, as Thomas seems like she got stripped there. At least fighting for the ball and possession arrow favors Pekin. So, oh no, timeouts will be called. That timeout will be on Minooka.
Yeah, I think Minooka is realizing that, this is the playoffs, and unlike, a best of whatever series, this is it for teams that are on the losing end. This is it. This is the last 7-19 left of their seniors' careers. You want to talk about Mackenzie Brass, the senior. This is possibly her last 7-19 left, and Madeline Kuiper, the other big scorer for this team, only a sophomore, so she's got a couple years left. But you gotta feel for Brass, the big difference maker for this team. What could be her final 7-19 left in her career.
Brass, Cook, Kyra Kenny and Natalie Milazzo, all seniors on this roster sheet. Want to try your best to come out with a victory. We'll see how this fast-paced offense will look, because they clearly have to score a lot in just a little bit of time. It's Kuiper trying to post up on Korma, won't go, just out to the corner to Thomas. Thomas drives in. Layup off the right side of the backboard, and Korma has it, slows it down. No full court press by the Minooka anymore.
Yeah, I'm interested why they won't employ that, because they know that they're down by a sizable margin. You got to try to get some deflections and steals, but they are going to try to double team.
They will do that, and Pekin will try their best to run out the clock, as the shot there by Covert off the mark, rebounded by Brass, but Pekin's fighting for it down low, and that will have whistles blow. Possession arrow favors Pekin, so it will go to the Dragons. No, never mind. They'll say Minooka had possession of it before whistles blew. Thomas has it at the logo, gives it over to Dahlberg. Now Kuiper, Cook drives in. Mid-range jumper off the side of the backboard is in and good. Sitter inbounds to Korma. Korma back to Sitter. Passing back and forth to each other. Thomas picked up on Korma. Like very aggressive defense, and whistles blow again. Timeout will be called.
Yeah, but we finally see somebody other than Brass and Kuiper get in the score column for the Indians. It only took him until the fourth quarter. That's not something that Coach Klexa really wanted to see from her team, and it is Bree Cook. So good jumper by Bree Cook, by the way. Nice bank shot, nice old-fashioned bank shot there by Cook.
And for Minooka, you definitely wish you would have maybe done some of that a little bit earlier, spreading the ball around, because at this point in the game, 6:15 left, and Pekin have a sizable lead of double digits. It's definitely hard. It's not impossible, but it's very hard to get back into a game like this, because Pekin can just drag out the clock and play it at their pace however they want.
Yeah, this honestly might just be a matchup problem from the Indians from the get-go, because they played their 2-3 zone, and from what I saw, I mean, it has potential. It was a good 2-3 zone, but the Dragons, I mean, we talked about it, Teddy, their three-point shooting. They just shot the lights out early and often, and the reason why they have this big lead is just because of the community is scoring. And you talk about all the Dragons have hit three-point shots, all the Dragons have scored buckets. It's just, like I said before, quantity versus quality. And so far, quantity has been taking the lead so far.
For the Dragons, you got to give them credit. Bouncing off of a loss at Washington, the last game of the regular season, 37-62 was the score, and this is a great way to bounce back. And a dominant win as a pass down there to Barnum is wide open. A little too hard off the backboard. A little bit of contact, but as I was mentioning, great game to bounce back off of a conference loss. This Dragons team, 11-16 on the year, 4-10 in the Mid-Illini. So outside of conference play, they've played very well. Inside of a very stacked Mid-Illini conference, it's been a little bit of a different answer. So this is really no surprise if you've been watching them play out of conference games, as they have a high probability of coming out with a win on this one. But this loose ball will go in favor of Minooka.
And for Minooka, also in a pretty talented Southwest Prairie Conference, it's kind of surprising to see them, play, I wouldn't say bad, but it's not up to probably the par of play that they've been used to playing. And they're 8-8 in their conference, so they've been playing in a very tough conference, and they've fared pretty well.
Dahlberg passed it over to Thomas. She got stripped by Sitter out of bounds, so it'll stay with Minooka. Thomas drives in again, cut off by Barnum. Over to the corner to Cook. Cook for three, and it's good. 33-19 is a score.
And Bree Cook being that third scorer for the Indians, and that's what they needed early, but this might be too late.
Three-point shot by Barnum is up. Will not count as whistles blow before the shot.
Oh, they're going to get a charge on Pekin, or excuse me, Minooka to Pekin, a charge, and it'll be Indian basketball.
So don't look now, but 33-19 is, we've seen crazier things. 5 minutes left to go here. Pekin can drag out the clock as much as they want, but if Minooka keeps doing things like that, we could have a little bit of a different game, as momentum is definitely shifting here for the visiting Indians.
And now they're starting to play more of a full-court defense. They're trying to be more aggressive. They got some momentum going their way now.
They realize there is an opportunity. Lamb has it, drives in, gives it over to Korma. Korma shifts over to the left, fades over to the right. Shot a little too hard off the backboard. Barnum in transition, trying to guard up on Kuiper. Kuiper one-on-one, puts it up for 2, and it's good. 33-23. Indians trail by 10 as the fans starting to get a little loud here. We could have an interesting ending here in Dottie Hawkins Gymnasium. Sitter passes over to the corner to Barnum. Barnum, I think the best thing to do is try to slow things down. Don't force a shot. You're not losing. Lamb gets doubled, finds Sitter down low. Sitter gets fouled by Brass. Looking a little upset by that call, but Pekin fans obviously happy. Man, Sitter will take a trip to the line.
Brass has been showing her aggressiveness all night and her athleticness too, and for Minooka, this whole team performance here in the later half, or excuse me, the earlier half of the fourth quarter has been exceptional, and they've gone back in this game.
First shot by Sitter hits off the back of the rim, no good. And it's a 10-point game.
And they're starting to involve more scoring, too. You're going to talk about Kendall Thomas scoring a layup there, and Mackenzie Brass doing her thing, and then Bree Cook, 5 points in the fourth quarter, a 3-pointer and a 2. So good by the Indians to involve more scoring.
Sitter goes 0 for 2 from the line, rebounded by Brass. In transition quickly, Kuiper shifts over to the right, drives in, floater, and it's good. 8-point game, 4:20 left to go. Dragons got to answer back somehow to try to keep this momentum. Korma gets doubled. She'll try to pass it off Minooka's feet, but it will go out of bounds on the Dragons, and inbounding for the timeout will be called by Coach McGinnis. Definitely a good call there. Talk things over. Still a decent lead, but it's nothing Minooka can't come back from if you're not careful.
It's a lead that, it's now a single-digit lead for the Dragons, and we were riding off the Indians thinking that they wouldn't come back in this game, and it sure sounded like and looked like that they weren't going to come back in this game the way they were playing in their offensive end, but now you're involving more scoring. I talked about Kendall Thomas. She got a layup there, and now Bree Cook, the 5 points she has to go along with what Brass and Kuiper have done. And talk about Kuiper, she's been scoring more in the fourth quarter now, so don't look away, folks. We were counting out the Indians, but they're giving Pekin a run for their money now.
And that was only 2 minutes ago where we were talking about, this game could be under wraps, but, what do we know up here in the booth is 4 minutes and 12 seconds left to go. We have an 8-point game.
We're seeing more of the Indians willing to share the rock and not being so stagnant with their 2 players, and it's fared well for them.
Bree Cook half-court pass over to Brass. She puts it up, no good, but whistles will blow, and she'll shoot 2.
Brass with the ability to cut this lead to 6 with 2 made shots at the line.
Obviously, it worked out for him there, but just what a risky pass there by Cook. Had a wide-open Kendall Thomas right in front of you, and they chose that half-court heave. First shot by Brass is good. 7-point game for the Dragons. Chance to cut it to 6 with this second shot. The second one no good, but it is rebounded by Kuiper. She'll put up the mid-range floater off the mark. Lamb gets it, gives it to Korma. Korma gets doubled, needs to find something. She breaks free, uses her speed, gets out of it, finds it over to Sitter, the senior. For Pekin, really slow things down. That's what I would recommend.
They've been on a scoring drought too. Well, Minooka has been, I'd assume, on a 7-0 run.
Again, trying to hit it off the foot of Minooka, and that just won't go. Coach Brett McGinnis not happy with that one. He was right in front of the action. Cook passes in to Thomas. Wasn't ready for it, but she got it. Kuiper, top of the key, puts up the 3. No good. Korma gets the rebound. Will be wrapped up by Brass. And Sitter will inbound for the Dragons.
Yeah, Brass, possibly the best Indians player so far, already has 3 fouls. So a little bit of something to keep an eye on.
Again, Sitter gives it to Korma. Korma in transition, passes back to Sitter. Thomas picks her up. 3:30 left to go. Hands it off to Lamb. Lamb gets pickpocketed. Again, Brass pushing the pace. She's playing aggressive, and you can't knock her for it in such a close game, but you got to be careful, especially when you're such a key player to your team.
She's got 4 fouls. So by far, I'd say the Indians' best player in foul trouble at this point. She can't get another one, or else she fouls out of the game, and wouldn't that be a big loss for Minooka if she fouled out of the game?
First shot by Lamb is up and good, and of all people you could foul, Lamb's probably not the one to do it. She's knocked down a lot of threes, and she's proved she can be one of the best shooters on a court. And she goes 2 for 2 there. 9-point game, Pekin. So they get a little bit of a bigger lead, but they know the momentum is still with Minooka. They got to be careful. Dahlberg passes over to Kuiper. Kuiper almost loses the dribble, passes the brass down low off the bottom of the rim. Rebounded by Lamb.
That's as good as a look as you're going to get with this Pekin defense. And right there, but just a little bit under the rim, and Brass was not able to finish.
Pekin, a little bit of a bend, don't break type of mindset right now as Kuiper falls down, tries to draw the foul, finds Sitter wide open in the corner. Thomas picks her up, back over, and it's hit out of bounds. And they recovered by Korma. Back to Barnum. Hansen finds Sitter wide open in the corner for 3, and it's good. I wouldn't want to say the dagger because we've seen, a little bit of a comeback with a few minutes to go, but that one was just as clutch as they can come in a point like this where Minooka's coming back fiercely.
I was going to say dagger, so, you weren't going to be the only one that thought about that, and for sure it was, in a way, momentum-wise, that was the dagger. Minooka was riding with momentum throughout the later half of the fourth, but that three-pointer really shut that down.
Thomas drives in, has a little bit of contact, layup won't go. Rebound Korma, she's really going to slow things down. Only one person on her, splits the defense. Going to use her speed, slows it down, passes back to Sitter. Thought about the 3. Thomas picks up on defense. Barnum over to Korma. Korma guarded by Cook. Passes back to Hansen. Now Lamb. 2 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. Pekin doing a great job moving the ball around, keeping it away. It's almost stripped, and it is, but it's recovered by Sitter, and they'll fight for the ball. But timeout is called there by the Dragons. Brett McGinnis, probably a smart one there to keep the ball in possession of his girls. No shot clock.
Yeah, in theory you can hold it, or not hold it, but you have to pass it at some point. But you can keep the ball in possession for that minute and 56 seconds if you play it smartly. The problem with Pekin, the reason why McGinnis called that timeout, is because they haven't been too smart with the ball in these situations. So it's all about can you take care of the ball? Do not give Minooka any easy opportunities to steal the ball or get any easy baskets. And talk about the Indians. The big storyline in this game for the later part of the game is Mackenzie Brass with 4 fouls, but she's been probably their most aggressive defender. Now that she has 4 fouls, she's also probably their best offensive player tonight at least. So four fouls, she can't be aggressive on the defensive end because she can risk fouling out that way.
Definitely got to be careful and choose your fouls wisely. But with a minute 56 and you're trailing by 8, you really at this point, Pekin's going to try to waste as much clock as they can. It might be foul time for Minooka.
The problem with the Indians fouling is that they have no more fouls to give. So when they do foul, Pekin does shoot 2 at the line.
It is true. Korma guarded by Kuiper tightly. She gives it over to Sitter. Hansen. Hansen and Kuiper will hit together, and seems like they're both okay. Kuiper gets helped up. A little bit of a collision there. Ball will stay with the Dragons. Barnum inbounds. Passes into Hansen. Hansen breaks free, trying to dribble left. Over to Sitter, wide open in the paint. Gets doubled now.
It's a good job by Sitter passing the ball out and dribbling the ball out, because she could have easily taken that too, but good idea to waste some clock.
Korma drives in, gives it to Lamb. Lamb passes back to Sitter, wide open 3, and there it is. We mentioned the last one being the dagger. That one might as well be the official dagger. 41-26, 125 left to go. Not impossible, but very, very unlikely. And Kuiper will draw a little bit of contact there. What a play by Sitter. She has been very clutch here in this fourth quarter. 2 threes, and really exactly when Pekin needed it.
Yeah, Sitter very smart on that end of the court. She had an easy layup on that one attempt, but she decided to dribble the ball out, and then she wasted some more clock, up to 10 seconds, and then she finally took a three-pointer, and that was a very risky shot, but she made it, in, like you said, Teddy, the dagger.
As a travel is called there on the Indians. With 1:18 left, Sitter will inbound. Has Lamb and Korma down low on her side. Guarded by Thomas and Cook. And out goes Kuiper. In comes Natalia Milazzo, the senior.
Yeah, it looks like Coach Klexka is just getting her singers one final crack at it. She realizes the score is a little out of hand at this point of the game, and in a way she's calling off her dogs, but what a game it has been so far, honestly. A really good game.
Definitely closer than the scoreboard would tell you. There was a period of time there where everyone back here in our booth and as well as all the fans were a little quiet because it got a little scary for the Dragons, but managed to clutch it out as Hansen will shoot two. The first one off the mark, a little too hard off the back of the backboard, but 41-26 the score with 1:03 left to go. Covert in to check in for the Dragons. Second one no good as well, rebounded by Brass. Under a minute to go. Brass over to the corner, finds Dahlberg. She drives in, mid-range jumper, it falls.
Nice move by Dahlberg there, the pump fake and then the drive on the baseline, finding a good spot and nice basket.
Really every member of the team for the Titans pressing up, but Korma has it, splits the defense, drives over, bounces over to Lamb, and Lamb will be fouled.
You never know at this point, 35.8 seconds left to go. It's not in favor of Minooka, that's for sure. It's still a double-digit deficit, but you never know.
Lamb again from the free throw line, 2 for 2 last attempt. And that first one rattles around and won't fall. As Sitter checks out, in comes Covert. What a game by Sitter. All around, played well.
Yeah, I have her for unofficially having 9 points, so good job by Sitter. 3 3-pointers.
Cook over to Brass in the corner. Hezzy step back to Dahlberg. Dahlberg tries to get around Lamb, gets cut off. Finds Thomas. Thomas top of the key. Drives in, steps back. Another little crossover. Puts up the layup attempt too hard off the backboard. And Pekin will probably just hold this one out as under 10 seconds to go. Lamb has it, and that will do it. As the Pekin fans stand up in applause, and what's a heartbreaking way to go out in such a close game that you had the momentum for a period of time, but overall, you got to give it to the Dragons. They played well all the way through, and even when adversity struck them, they bounced back and got the lead back thanks to a couple of threes by Sierra Sitter and defensive key plays as well. But got to give credit to Minooka and their incredible season, 13-4 in the regular season, and obviously losing here tonight, but great season by them and their coach Kolechka.
Yep. I mean, it's the turning point of this game was after the first quarter and into the second quarter and the third quarter when Minooka had struggled to find anything on the offensive end besides Brass and Kuiper, and really it was just Brass that was taking control of things. And like I said, it was quantity versus quantity, and the Dragons, the Pekin Dragons, deserved this game because I'm going to do the counting here. Yeah, five scorers for the Dragons, and they all chipped in pretty nicely for their team. And there's 5 scorers also for Minooka, but 2 of the 5 have only had 2 points on the night. That is Thomas and Dahlberg unofficially, but it was really just Mackenzie Brass, and that was not the recipe for success for this Minooka Indians team.
As we look forward, Pekin will take on Normal West tomorrow. I did it again. Normal Community tomorrow. On Thursday, sorry. And what should be a good game as both of those teams looked great in their respective matchups. But that'll just about do it here for us. I'm Teddy Ball, all alongside Michael Savoy. And thanks to our entire crew, Harvey Newcomb, Josh Messenger, and John. Why am I blinking?
Michael.
Jonathan Michael. I was about to call you another John, but hopefully I don't get fired for that one. But thank you to our entire crew, and thank you all to watching. We're Clutch Sports Media signing off.